like chapter 17. Unorthodox Islam, the Ishmaelites, the Lodge of Cairo. Manchaeism was not the only secret association that sprang from the initiations of the Magi. In the 7th century of our era, we meet with similar societies possessing an influence not limited to the regions in which they arose. Variations of one single thought which aimed at combining the venerable doctrines of Zoroaster with Christian belief. Of these societies or sects, the following may be mentioned: the followers of Cheomers, the worshippers of Servan, certain Zoroastrians, so-called dualists, Gnostics, and lastly the followers of Mastic, the most formidable and disastrous of all, preaching universal equality and liberty, the irresponsibility of man, and the community of property and women. The Arabs, having rendered themselves masters of Persia in the 7th century, the sects of that country set to work to spread their tenets among Islam in order to undermine it. This is corroborated by Heckthorn, who writes, "The Persian sects examined the Quran, pointed out its contradictions, and denied its divine origin. And so there arose in Islamism that movement which attacks dogmas and destroys faith and substitutes for blind belief free inquiry. In Persia and in Mesopotamia had spread the new rationalism, the philosophical heresy of the Mu'tazilites, schismics, exposed by Hassan al-Basri. The Jew Abdullah ibn Saba presented himself as the prophet of the future Imam, who was to manifest. He meant to overthrow the caliphate and to uphold the rights of Muhammad al-Hanafi, the son of Ishmael, the descendant of the prophet by his daughter Fatima, the wife of Ali. Thus was founded the Shia sect. The Fatimite dynasty from Fatima, daughter of Muhammad, was founded in 909 AD when Ashmasad, the son of a Jewess who had married the Shia chief of Al-Husayn, conquered Egypt and Syria, establishing the center at Cairo. Declaring himself to be the long-expected Imam, Sad, on coming to power, assumed the name of Obadiah al-Mahdi. The Fatimite dynasty lasted from 909 to 1171. Heckthorn informs us that the Dial Doat, or supreme missionary or judge, shared the power with the prince. Meetings were held in the lodge at Cairo, which contained many books and scientific instruments. Science was then professed object, but the real aim was very different. The course of instruction was divided into 9 degrees. The 9th degree, as the necessary result of the teaching of all the former, taught that nothing was to be believed, and that everything was lawful. Egypt, especially, seems as if predestined to be the birthplace of several secret societies of priests, warriors, and fanatics. It is the region of mysteries. Cairo has succeeded the ancient Memphis, the doctrine of the Lodge of Wisdom, that of the Academy of Heliopolis. The throne of the descendants of Fatima was to be surrounded with an army of assassins, a formidable bodyguard. A mysterious militia was to be raised that should spread far and wide the fame and terror of the Caliphate of Cairo and inflict fatal blows on the abhorred rule of Baghdad. The missionaries spread widely, and in Arabia and Syria partisans were one, to whom the designs of the order were unknown, but who had, with fearful solemnity, sworn blind obedience. The Fatimites had received from the sect the mission of destroying, or at least of disrupting, Islam. The successor of Obadiah Allah continued his work, having himself proclaimed a Shia, while in reality he was septic. It was under the Caliph Hakim that the Drusus came to being. The Shia sects, who recognized Muhammad al-Hanafi as the last surviving Imam, were called Ishmaelites or Septimans. From their midst sprang a secret body, the Khoja, which, in spite of persecution, still exists in Persia and India, where its exotic chief is the angelicized Indian, the Aga Khan, whose followers are the moneylenders of Islam, a profession forbidden by Muhammad. Still another Shia sect, the Duodecimans, or Ammonites, recognize Muhammad al-Muntazar, the 12th Imam. Under the Fatimite Caliph Hakim, a new religion sprang out of Ishmaelism, that of the Drusus, so called from its inventor, a certain Darossi. This religion differs little from Ishmaelism, except that it introduces the dogma of the incarnation of God himself on earth under the form of the Caliph Hakim. When the Fatimite Caliph Mustasir ascended the throne, he reestablished the Ishmaelian belief, and the Drusus, driven from Egypt, took refuge in Lebanon, where they still exist.